You know, I was sitting here at the end of the bar, and I was having some conversations with some of the Ravens flock, some of Flock Nation, as they were speaking, right? And it's weird because I looked down and I was like, "What is that? What is that?" And I said, "Hmm, hmm." All I could really say was, "All right then." What is going on, good people? Back at it again. Let me see if I can readjust here. Let me see if I can just make a quick little readjustment there, just in case. But what is going on, good people? 13-3 was the score of the Ravens' loss against the Browns as we get ready for this Ravens Browns rewind for week 15. Another tough loss and another week where the Ravens lack accountability. But what's going on? It's DJ here. Flock Nation Speaks. Ravens Rewind for the Browns victory over the Ravens, which I didn't think I was going to actually be saying. But 13-3, a terrible offensive game, a kind of good defensive game. I mean, if you think about it, 13 points sounds good on paper, but there's some missing links when it comes to that. And just I think a lot of fans, I feel like we're starting to break more and more each week, right? Sometimes sometimes I think it was easier. Like sometimes I think about it, I'm like, dang, imagine being like a Cowboys fan, right? Like imagine being maybe even like a Colts fan to a certain degree in the Peyton Manning days, where and the Cowboys fan was a joke, but like just imagine being that type of fan. Even Raven once again upset that I mean she was ready to go on Saturday, but she right now she's like, this is ridiculous. Like even she's at her breaking point. But it's amazing though, right? Because imagine being a Cowboys fan. Imagine being a Colts fan, in the prime of their years when they were Super Bowl contenders. Like, imagine being the team that is the Super Bowl contender, right? That is the A1 day one. This is the team that's going to win this game. They're going to win this game this year. Like, imagine being the Bills this year and the Bills just wet the bed when it comes to the playoffs this season. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, imagine having all that pressure on you and then when you get there, it's like, oh. And it's just so interesting. And we know the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl every single year. It doesn't matter how much of an accident waiting to happen they are, they're going to win it. It's just interesting, right? Like it's crazy because I think now, especially with as crazy as social media is, and there's so many ways to express your opinion and hear other people's opinions and hear what other people have to say. It's so interesting because I feel like sometimes when the Ravens weren't contenders, it was a little bit easier to be a fan, right? You weren't as disappointed when you saw a 13-3 loss because that's the Ravens MO. But now it's starting to become a fact of when are we going to learn? Right? When are we going to learn? I mean, John Harbaugh had a presser. They asked him about Greg Roman. They said, "Hey, is there going to be any like adjustment? You don't have to fire Greg Roman, right? Like Greg Roman doesn't necessarily have to be fired, right? It doesn't have to happen, but are you going to make some adjustments? You're the coach here, right? You're the coach. Are you going to make some adjustments when it comes down to what this team does on the offensive end? Because we all know the resources on the defense." And it's crazy because I feel bad sometimes for the defense because I'm like, unfortunately, the pressure is on you, right? Unfortunately, the pressure is on you, defense. You got to score touchdowns. You got to get turnovers. You got to put us in positive field position because that's where the money is. And that's how this team is built. This team is built for the defense to put us in situations to win and not the offense. And the reason behind that is, they rushed. The run game, it's crazy because, I talked about it in the preview. To win this game, we need efficient passing and dominant running. And I ain't gonna lie to you, the run game was dominant, right? The run game was dominant. JK looked good, Gus looked good, right? The run game was like that, and there was no Lamar. So when Lamar comes in, oh man, this run game about to be like that. But then the common problem of what we've seen over the past, let's just be honest, couple of years, right? Because we've had a wide receiver problem for years, the common issue that we're seeing is that the Ravens can't do anything in the passing game. Because you remember I said something about this a couple weeks ago. I said, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm not worried about anybody except for Lamar Jackson. And at that point, there was no true running game either. So I really wasn't worried about the run game at that point. Now, I think the run game you have to respect, right? Because JK can pop one, and Gus can pop one. And then, of course, when Lamar comes back, he can pop one. But at the same time, why wouldn't I stack the box against you when you don't have guys that can get open? Once again, and I've said it time and time again, I'm not worried about those guys. And that's the issue, right? That's the issue. Here, and once again, it's an organizational problem. The Ravens do not value wide receiver because they are run game and they are defense first, right? So the Ravens don't value wide receiver because they are run game and they are defense first. The issue with that is you're kind of in a passing league. You got to at least be able to, kind of like what the Titans do, you got to at least be able to efficiently pass the ball, especially what the Titans have been able to do with A.J. Brown over the past couple years. You got the dominance of Derrick Henry, and then you got the ability, right? You got the ability to throw the ball down the field if you need to hit them for big plays if you need to. The Ravens don't have that. They don't have guys who can consistently get open. They don't have guys they can throw the ball to in space and they can make somebody miss, except for maybe Isaiah Likely. But it's not like there's a difference, obviously, between Isaiah Likely and a guy like Tyreek Hill or even a guy like Hollywood. Like if Hollywood can make people miss like Isaiah Likely can and then utilize his speed, things would have been a little bit different. It would have been more of that Tyreek Hill effect. Like Isaiah Likely is the only guy who feels like he can run after the catch. And it's funny because, once again, speaking of problems that have been issues year after year, yards after catch. We were like last in yards after catch last year and the year before. And that's a concern. So I don't know what to say about this offense. I don't know how this offense gets better. I don't know. I know what's missing. I just don't know how to fix it this late in the season. Like, yes, you could go sign Sammy Watkins, but is Sammy Watkins gonna dramatically push the needle? No, he might a little bit, but is he gonna dramatically push the needle? No, by no means. He's not gonna dramatically push the needle. The only guy that dramatically moves the needle for you is Lamar Jackson. Getting him back, like I think that's the only. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, and yes, it does help that the defense is as good as they are. But the reason why Ravens fans can have even just a small little bit of faith that there could be a run that happens this season with the way this offense has looked has been, there's two reasons. One, it's Lamar Jackson because he can make magic out of absolutely nothing, right? He can make magic without the hat, right? He can make magic without the rabbit. Like, it doesn't matter. He don't need any of that. He can make magic without any of that stuff. But two, because the defense is a really good, really solid, borderline dominant defense to where scoring on them is going to be an issue. But the Ravens' issue over the past couple of weeks has been scoring themselves, right? They can move the ball down the field, it seems like, but getting the ball into the end zone. That's been the bigger issue because I'm not worried about anybody when it comes to the passing game. I'm worried about the run game. But then, as you saw, once again, what the Ravens tend to do time and time again, you go away from what's working. You go away from what you've done, not only all season, not only for the past couple of years, but what you have done time and time again that actually works. You go away from it. You go away from it, and then you say, well, what happened? What happened? Why didn't this go the way I thought it was gonna go? And it's very frustrating, right? Is this the breaking point game? I don't know, right? I think the coaching staff right now is very complacent. I think it starts with John Harbaugh, right? I think it starts with John Harbaugh. I think he's gotten his Super Bowl. They're competitive. You know, the old saying is winning is the best deodorant, right? Because it don't matter how much funk is underneath there. As long as you winning, that's all you got to do to advance. Let's be honest. We talked about it last. We talked about it a couple months ago. The Bengals didn't have the greatest playoff run in the history of time. Neither did the Rams. They weren't dominant by no means during their playoff run, either one of those teams. But where were they when it came time for the Super Bowl? They was playing against each other. So winning covers up a lot of things, and Lamar Jackson has won a high percentage of his games. So winning covers up so much that sometimes you forget, oh, there's bad coaching over here, and there's lack of receiver talent over here. And there's the fact that I'm not really worried about anybody on the offensive end here. And there's the fact that the defense gave up a big score in that game way back when, right? Like, it's tough because, and that's the interesting part about the playoffs, because the playoffs are one and done. You got to have 4 good days. That's it, right? You got to figure it out for 4 weeks. I guess technically 5, because you got that mini little bye week in there for the Pro Bowl. But you got to figure it out for 5 weeks. And the question is, can the Ravens do that? Now, albeit, here's the thing, right? You're getting that dominant run game back. We'll see how efficient the passing game is. But the issue is you don't have guys that can get open. A lot of Tyler Huntley's struggles right now is the fact that there's nobody open for him to throw to begin with. So, and that goes back to why I think a lot of us praise Lamar Jackson so much. How many wide open throws do you see Lamar Jackson actually have? Right. And I'm not talking about like he's scanning the right side of the field and there's somebody open to the left and he's supposed to have eyes in the back of his head through a helmet to be able to hit it. I'm talking about like in his read, in his progression through the scheme, that dude's wide open. Yes, it happens, but it's rare. You know how many times I watch the Bills, how many times I watch the Dolphins, and I see somebody wide open. Shoot, there were more guys wide open for the Browns than there were for the Ravens last game. It's weird because, you know, the Browns games, for whatever reason, just tend to be like the breaking point type of games. But here's the thing: I don't see them making a coaching change. I don't see them doing what is necessary to make the move that needs to be made, right? Whether that's signing Odell, could be signing Sammy Watkins, I don't know, right? Like, whether it's signing some sort of talent, but you're too late in the game to sign any sort of talent right now. So now it goes back to coaching. And I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, drops have been an issue, right? I'm not going to say Lamar's played well in his playoff games. I'm not going to say the receivers have played well in their playoff games, right? The running backs haven't really played well in the playoff games. But let's be honest, the coaches haven't coached well in the playoff games. They run as far away from their actual scheme as they can. And I think that's the biggest issue more than anything. I think Ravens fans are worried about being outcoached more than they are execution. It's crazy because the Ravens don't have the talent to truly compete, but they do, right? So we've seen Brock Purdy come out here with actual talent on the outside, you know, beside him, and McCaffrey too. And we've seen what he's been able to do. So Huntley should be able to do the same thing, right? And albeit he doesn't have the talent, but once again, that comes back to coaching, because Kyle Shanahan could coach a good game when he had injuries all over the place last year. So that comes back to coaching, right? Are you going to put people where they need to be so they can succeed? And right now, Harbaugh's not doing it because special teams looks terrible. Defense, I mean, they got all the talent. They should be doing it. Offense, not doing it. Offense, not doing it, right? Offensive coordinator, not doing it. I know there's been drops. I know there's been lack of execution, but sometimes you got to help your guys out, right? Sometimes you got to run a couple more screens because you ain't got the guys that can get separation. Sometimes you got to run a couple more pick plays because you ain't got the guys that can get separation. Sometimes you just got to hit your top target because he's the only guy that's going to go up and get a contested catch. Sometimes that's what you got to do. And here's the thing: I think everybody at least wanted to see what the young guys could do. Not to say we shouldn't have signed somebody else. Not to say we shouldn't have traded Hollywood Brown. I mean, because that's my thing. Hollywood Brown should still be on this team, and they should have grabbed another receiver on top of that, but they didn't. But it's taken them what 3 years to actually use their young guys. It's taken them 3 years to actually use the guys that they drafted and wanted to be their guys of the future. And now we see what happens. Once again, I don't put that on the players. I put that on coaching. Why when they were rookies and you didn't have talent, did you not put them on the field more and give them opportunities? So then that way, okay, we know what we got in Duvernay. We know what we got in Prochet, right? Okay, we're good there. Of course, we got Hollywood over here. We know what we got in Bateman. Cool, we're good. But instead, what you've done is you have come out here and put these guys who, I mean, they might as well be rookies. They might as well be rookies at this point because they haven't gotten a lot of opportunities, right? You have put these guys in terrible situations to be successful, and you expect them to be some sort of savior of your passing offense, and that's ridiculous. It's crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. And it blows my mind. And my last point. Here's my last point on airing my frustration out, I guess, after this game. Because what is the breaking point? I don't know. My last point when it comes to me airing out my frustrations about this Ravens team, it's they continue to do the same things over and over again and expect different results. And I don't get it. I don't get it. You bring in guys and then don't utilize them and then get mad that they weren't effective for you, or get mad that they were mad that they weren't utilized. Just imagine. I'm gonna put it to you like this. I'm gonna leave you some food for thought here. Imagine if when the Ravens traded for Anquan Boldin, they utilized him as much as they utilized Devin Duvernay or James Prochet or Deshaun Jackson. Now I know he's a different receiver, but okay. And let me put it to you like this: imagine if they utilized him as much as they utilized Dez Bryant, because we didn't really get to see that experiment, right? We didn't get to see what that was going to be. I don't know why the Ravens think they mad scientists. We didn't get to see what that was going to be. So I'll talk more about this, about the Ravens in the preview coming up for the Falcons game, which will be very, very soon, because of course it's another Saturday game. Hoping Lamar's back, but at the same time, I want Lamar to be back at 100%. I don't want Lamar to be back trying to do everything that trying to freaking put the Superman cape on against the Falcons, because I think the Ravens should be able to beat the Falcons without Lamar and lean on the defense and the run game a little bit. Now, and that goes back to it. Explain to me why JK and Gus got one carry. Why did JK and Gus get one carry in the fourth quarter? Doesn't make sense. That's what's working, and then once again you go away from it. So why should I have faith in this team besides the guy you won't pay for whatever crazy reason that is? Why should I have faith in this team? Why should I have faith in this team that coaching is going to do what coaching needs to do? Why should I have faith in this team in that regard? Because every playoff game we have seen except for one, the Ravens have not even played what they feel to be their game, what they feel to be their strength. They haven't done it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the Falcons coming up this week, I have a preview for you. excited to see how it goes. Hopefully, better than it went last week. And I know Huntley looked kind of rough, but the scheme ain't helping him, right? Like I think we're seeing like how ridiculous this scheme is when it comes to it's Lamar Jackson magic or nothing. It just is. Um, and I think that's what's frustrating a lot of times is that's the scheme. That's it. And this is the same guy you won't pay to continue to push this offense forward. But when he's not in the game, you see how this offense looks. It's dink and dunk. It's check down Charlie. It's hey diddle diddle. Nothing up the middle, right? That's what it is. And you won't pay him. Wow to me. Wow to me. But I can guarantee you they pay Roquan. And they keep going with this same philosophy of raw defense and running game. And we hope we grab a quarterback that can do anything close to what Lamar has done for us. We hope so, right? We hope so. We really do. I don't see it. But anyway, definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. You can always watch or listen to Flock Nation Speaks if I can find it. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. You can watch it on Facebook and YouTube as well. Definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm gonna try to get the preview out definitely soon for this week. But I definitely hope you guys enjoyed. What's your thoughts? What's the breaking point for this team? Like honestly, bro. Like people just leaving stuff outside the facility at this point. What's the breaking point for this team? Who knows? We'll see you guys on the next one. Might have to add in old Johnny Boy on top of that too, But we'll see you guys on the next one. Until next